Share that sucker. Orientation. Stand by, guys. Copy the link. All right. Okay. What's going on here? Figure this out, guys. Bear with me. Sorry I'm late. The wife was cooking food and she made an awesome meal, and I felt since she worked so damn hard I should probably help her clean up the kitchen. Hey, there it is. All right, things are kind of working now. Mute. All right, I think we're rolling, kinda. What's going on, guys? Jungle Jay's in the house. Lucas is in the house. Zapper Women is in the house. Chris is back. He's back in black, or black and back. Black is back. Hot damn. Okay, where are we? What's going on? Mumbles. Yeah, okay, guys. So, man, it's been whirlwind. Went to Southeast Asia for a month. Was in Thailand visiting my in-laws, and got to go there, as you guys know, 12, 13 days early and look for snakes and get that all out of my system. And we went to Myanmar for a couple days, a few days. That'll be all a video coming up about that. It was very successful in Myanmar. We went, I'll just share this with you guys, but hang on, let me shut the door. In Myanmar, I got at this resort that we were staying at, I got the top 5 or 6 most venomous fish in the world right at the resort. And so that should be a quick, easy video. And then in Thailand, didn't get any king cobras, but I got a ton of amazing snakes, and that's going to be a really cool video. It should get at least 3,000 views since people don't love the snake videos as much as the tornado videos, but I'm really happy with the footage that I got. A lot of really incredible animals that I've just wanted to see my whole life. It was really great to take a month off of editing since I got back. Got off the plane and was thrown right into live music scene. I had 2 big shows, one in Houston, one in Austin, and had to play music. And so went from the jungle and poisonous snakes and poisonous fish to singing and dancing on stage, playing the guitar. And then now that's done, I've been on a crash course editing, trying to get you guys the tornadoes of 2018. It's going to be a great video. There's going to be some surprises in it to everybody else, but there won't be a surprise to you because I'm about to tell you what I did. I used some of your money and I licensed some couple clips from 2 other storm chasers that there was the storm of the year that I missed, and it just had to be in the video. And so I used your money to license that clip, and man, wait till you see my friend's footage. I'm not gonna tell you who. And then Blake, I rented some footage from him again of one of the tornadoes that I saw. He saw from a different angle, so I thought it would be kind of cool to show you guys the different contrasts of that. I've got all the footage whittled down to about 30 minutes now, and I'm probably going to whittle it down to about 20 more minutes, and hopefully I'll have that video ready for you guys Thursday before I go out of town to Galveston to see some of the family, which is just an hour away from here. We're going to spend the weekend with the family. So yeah, man, here we are. It's 2019. The tornadoes are gonna be here any day, any minute. In 2016, I got my first tornado in January. So, I mean, we're on call. And I've cleared my schedule. Our bass player moved back to Pittsburgh. So we are bass player list. I've got my standby guys, my backup guys that have other bands, but basically that means I'm not going to be working in the music scene very much at all. So we're storm chasing now. So I'm just gonna not really play any music until July, until I can put the band back together. Um, so yeah, you guys are talking, chatting amongst yourself. I haven't read anything you're saying, so give me a minute to catch up. I just wanted to catch you guys up. Here's some other updates. My eyes are going bad. I can't see. My arms aren't long enough now. Well, they are. I can see that good right now. But if I get tired, it gets further and further, and my arms aren't getting any longer. So I went and got a prescription, and this I think might be the solution. I only need glasses for if I'm reading really small print once or twice a day, and it's been causing me problems while I've been storm chasing. If I'm doing my camera settings at night, I get tired, and it seems like my close-up vision is getting worse and worse as I get older and older. So how cool is that? Done. What do you think? I could see super sharp, super close. Got this going on for just while I'm doing all my things, and then boom, it's out. So I don't have to commit the glasses yet. Greg, what's up? I'm glad Greg's here. It's always good to see what's going on with him and all his tarantulas. And if you guys aren't watching Greg yet, you are crazy. All right, let's catch up with you guys. I missed everything you said. So if you got anything to say, bring it back. Otherwise, I'll get lost in here. So I'm glad to see you're all here. Follow Truth summed it up with, I missed nothing. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Golden grams are for the bad eyes. Golden grams are for everything. Okay, so we're going to kick it off. Does anybody have any questions? I've got a couple from Carolyn and Hugo, who might not be able to make this because Hugo lives probably, I think he lives in England, and he kind of let me know that 3 a.m. was not a cool time to be watching chats. So we'll start with Hugo. Hugo asks, what do you think is going to happen in 2019? I just ruined his, bastardized his, let me actually get what he actually said. So Hugo asks, what do you expect from 2019 for storm chasing? And 2, what is some must equipment for a storm chaser, including software and apps? So as far as what do I expect for 2019, the answer for me is always, I do not know. And nobody really knows when it's in regards to tornadoes. I don't think. Maybe there's somebody, but now oscillations, guys, you know, El Nino, La Nina. It's called an oscillation because the warm water kind of tends to go back and forth from Eastern Pacific to Western Pacific. It oscillates back and forth. That's why you're always hearing one or the other. It's La Nina, it's El Nino. And so that changes the jet stream, and with one little change in jet stream, it has on a grand scale kind of a butterfly effect, and we get different weather here in the United States. And sometimes you know, maybe it'll be warmer temperatures, and I actually don't know exactly. You guys probably know more of how the oscillations affect us, because they really don't matter to me. When we're talking about tornadoes, man, we're talking about a lot of mesoscale stuff that, I mean, you know, even the great forecasters will say, you know, beyond 6 days out, our accuracy, our confidence really falls apart to almost pointless. You know, I kind of will extend it out to 8 days. You know, sometimes the GFS, I feel confident that the 8 days will pan out a lot of times, you know, the jet stream positions. But after that, who knows? And there's so many factors when you're talking about tornadoes, that what's going to make a tornado happen, and also what's going to make a good season. For example, we could have a lot of tornadoes. Like this year, there was actually a lot more tornadoes than people realize, but many of them were QLCS tornadoes, so quasi-linear convective system tornadoes. Basically, you have a swath of cold front that's surging, and you get these little mesovortices, and you'll get little tornadoes that spin up that are brief and weak. They're not the same as mesocyclone tornadoes or supercellular tornadoes, and they are hard to forecast. They're weak, and you could have 10 or 12 pop up on a line, but man, that really means nothing compared to one good supercell tornado. As you know, supercells are responsible for the world's violent tornadoes, most of the violent tornadoes, and the majority of the world's violent tornadoes, and also they're a lot more easier to forecast. So as far as in numbers, and then it's really hard to say anything, and I can ramble on and on and on and on and on about this, but what else? For a good storm season, really for me, really boils down to about 4 good tornado events. It used to be 1, and now I'm upping it to 4. 3 good tornado events like in 2017, like good photogenic events with a couple sporadic little ones here and there. That's a pretty good season. Last year I had 1. So last year was my worst season that I've had for tornadoes since 2008. As it was for a lot of chasers. But if you lived in Denver, if you were, Colorado, man, that was the place to be, because the events were kind of these, day of events that happened on the upslope regime. Montana, Wyoming, and Colorado. That's where the events were, and of course, the deck is stacked against me being from Houston to see those and catch wind of those events well in advance. One of them I did, but of course the TIT got smashed into, and so I missed that one. And then the Montana event I missed because I just didn't have any faith that anything was going to happen. So yeah, long story short, who knows what the hell's going to happen? There's just too many variables. Even with the oscillations, one might include more storms, but what kind of storms? We had a lot of storms this year or last year, but it seemed like we were just lacking the oomph to give them, the sheer, to give them to tornado. When I'm looking back at my footage, it's just like every day, there I am with this monster storm, and then they just didn't tornado. They didn't have the oomph. So second part of his question was, Hugo also asks, what is some must-have equipment for a storm chaser? Also include any software and apps. Well, must-have, the most important thing is you're going to need a vehicle, right? So you got to have that, and if you're going to have a vehicle, I would recommend a reliable vehicle, right? And good gas mileage is kind of nice, depending on how much you're going to drive. But if you're doing some local chasing, a good truck, a big truck will do fine. You don't want a car that's too little. I chased in 2008. I rented a Toyota Prius. And man, those were the old ones, and even those got 45 miles to the gallons. I think the new ones get even higher or more gas mileage than that, or they're more fuel efficient. But the problem is that it's such a light car that, 40-mile-an-hour crosswinds, 30-mile-an-hour crosswinds are blowing you off the road. You couldn't even drive. It was really scary driving the Prius. It's just so light. So I wouldn't go too light if you could. Okay, so we talked about cars. Me, I like the middle ground. I actually like cars. You've heard me say this. I like to feel low to the ground, just because most of the accidents that I think I would have that are the most dangerous would involve high speeds. Where are you driving fast? You're driving fast on pavement where there's other cars, and a low profile car slides and handles. The Camry that I had just was so great, man. It just hugged the road. And the 4Runner that I had prior to that, of course it was a 97 4Runner, was like a Portuguese man-o-war, man. It just sailed all over the road, and really couldn't drive too fast in the high winds. This year I have the RAV4, which might be a little bit in the middle. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, so yeah, but as far as the things you must have, you got to have a car. It's good to have maps. But I would say that you need a computer and apps. But, I was storm chasing before we had smartphones. So you can do it if you have an understanding of the atmosphere. You can kind of go out on a slight risk day and park in the middle of it and just wait for your cumulus towers to go up. And that you can follow storms. We intercepted storms just from looking. So those are the basics. And then, of course, you can stack on a good computer system is good, a good radar. system is good, you know, like Radar Scope or GR3 or some of the other ones. I don't even know what the other ones are. There's a lot of free ones. Anything is better than what we had in the, you know, 20 years ago. So you really can't go wrong. And then of course, the more road maps you have, the better, as far as really being able to dial in your attack on these storms and read how well the road conditions are. You know, do I want to take that road? Nah, I probably don't want to take that one. It looks pretty primitive. And then, oh, this one looks like it might be well maintained. We'll take that one. It's a thicker line. So yeah, and then of course cameras. You know, people, a lot of storm chasers go out there with just their camera, their cell phone camera, and they take great stuff. You know, if you're like me, you're kind of obsessive about it, and you wish you had 20 cameras, but you can really only manage the 6 that you have. So yeah, that should get the job done. That, and of course a box of cereal in the back seat. Okay, got one more question from Carolyn. Carolyn asked, what was your decision on the grill guards, or did you just rent the TIV, the TIV? Well, I didn't rent the TIV, though I think it'd probably be fun. I heard it smells pretty bad, but be kind of neat. I kind of miss seeing the TIV too out on the road. It was always cool to see that thing out on the road. But I don't know on the grill guards. I was speaking to Matt about it, and he kind of pointed out that the grill guards that are available for crossovers for the RAV4 aren't really the heavy duty ones that they have, you know, for like the Ford F-150s that really, I mean, if you hit a deer, you know, they're just those solid metal ones. But the one looks pretty good. As far as the sensors, if you guys missed the post, I saw somebody posted, one guy posted that the reason why Toyota doesn't make brush guards and grill guards and stuff like that is because they interfere with the airbag sensing system. And so that set off an alarm in my head, like, wow, you know, I don't want to mess with that. But I spoke to a couple officers, including, or chatted with Richard Cowgill on Patreon, and he said he's seen a lot of Toyotas, you know, that you know, with grill guards on them, and the airbags deployed just fine. So I think that might be, I don't think I'm going to let the airbag issue deter me from buying the grill guards. However, I am going to let the fact that I don't know how helpful they're going to be deter me. So right now I'm thinking about doing it. But if it's just a big pain in the ass and it's really just only to look cool, then I definitely don't want to do it. But we'll see. Right now I'm planning on getting one. Okay, I got those questions out of the way. Let's see what you guys are chatting about. And for the record, I missed everything again. So Follow Truth, did I miss anything? Is there anything I need to catch up on? Follow Truth said, okay, Hank, give me the scoop. What's your opinion about global warming and storm patterns over the past 10 years? All right, let's piss some people off. What do you say? Global warming is happening, people. It's happening. We're messing up the planet. You can't take billions and billions of people, put them in the planet. But, you know, I don't know how realistic our goals are about. I've been keeping quiet about this because I'm really researching. I was going to, and I don't like to talk about stuff until I know what I'm talking about. And I think after about another 3 more years of researching climate and trying to get everybody's opinion, then maybe I'll start talking about it, maybe sooner. But everybody that I talk to, all the meteorologists, all the guys that I all talk to, all are on board that, yeah, we're messing up the planet, need to do something about that. There's some good arguments against it, and there's a whole lot of I don't know. And but a lot of the arguments that people have against climate change, perhaps they're right, but it's kind of like, what if you're wrong? Shouldn't we just try to do something? So, it's hopefully we can slow it, but I think the numbers global warming, the numbers that you throw out at people, they just don't sound crucial. They don't sound crucial enough to destroy the economy. By the end of the century, let's say the water rises a meter. that the ocean's, surface rises a meter, that 3 feet. That just doesn't, in 70, 80 years, that doesn't seem a lot to a lot of people. And it could be, it is a lot. It's a significant change. But yeah. My opinion is everybody that I speak to about it, who knows more about it than I do. And then there's that one guy who, that's against it. And he, I don't know. We're scientists. We're supposed to listen to everybody and listen to what they're saying and try not to get emotional about it and just look at the data. That's it. Just look at the data. And then, of course, finding the right data is a big pain in the butt, too, because there's so many different things coming at you. So you just choose the one that you want to hear, right? Okay, let's get off that. I'm really not able to speak about that the way I want to. I don't have enough background in it. Give me another 3 years to study up on it, and then hopefully I can call myself an expert in it. Probably not. Craig Kinsey's in the house. What's up, dude? Yeah, let's not turn this. Let's get off the whole global warming, guys, if that's cool. Let's see. Jungle J, what's up, dude? Wiggs wrote, Earth is cyclical. Standard is only from our frame of reference. One of the things that people will say, though, in argument is like, well, yeah, I mean, 20 billion, not 20 billion, but, 400 million years ago, the Earth was like this. Well, yeah, we didn't live on the planet then either, I mean, there was a time when the atmosphere was mostly carbon dioxide. That doesn't mean, the world does not care if humans live or die. It just doesn't, if once we die, then, everything, anyway. I said I was going to move on, and I didn't. Let's talk about tornadoes. Yeah, I hope you guys don't get into this huge snowball of hate. Let's go on. All right, everybody's throwing in their global climate change one-liners. What else, guys? Any questions? Any else? Buddy got any statements or awesome questions? So Craig Kinsey's one of our patrons, and he's started a new YouTube channel. He's asking people to tell their best stories, and he's finding these characters to tell their best stories. And if you go to his channel, you'll see that I've told him 2 of my best stories. And so Craig Kinsey, you'll see his name in there. So check out his videos too. Okay, Lucas asks, any update on Upward Clusters? The 2 guys that I'm talking to all were gone for the holidays, and then we're supposed to get back and start talking about that now. I've got some stuff to share with you guys, so hopefully I can give you an update on all the Upward Clusters. Okay, Garrett asks, what are some things you're doing differently this storm season? Well, I'm wearing my monocle, as you saw. I've got a RAV4, got a new car, a new used car, and I'm thinking about getting a drone. I've said this before. I'm at a max. People say, why don't you get a drone, or why don't you get this, or why don't you stream live? And it's kind of like, imagine the guy who's juggling bowling pins. One more bowling pin and the whole act comes down. I'm kind of doing as much as I can possibly do the way I do it. But I am thinking about getting a drone. I'm not a fan of GoPros for storm chasing. I love them for underwater stuff. But that GoPro 7 Hyperlapse thing looks pretty cool. So that might be something to look into. What else am I doing different? Oh, one thing I'm going to be doing different this year is I'm going to bring you guys some freaking tornadoes. That's what I'm doing different this year. Hey, Natia. Clay, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, I get it. I get it, Clay. I'm not going to repeat what you said. Follow Truth says, Hank, I dare you to cut your hair. I did that once. It takes more to maintain a haircut than just to not touch it. Craig Kinsey shaved his head, but now he's got to shave his head every couple weeks. I don't have to do anything. I just, once every 6 months, I cut it with a knife and I'm done. Follow Truth said a drone would be awesome. Yeah, but it'll be, I don't know how effective they're going to be for tornadoes. You got to set them up. You know, you can't be close to the tornadoes, so which means it has to be one of those tornadoes that is very, is visible from really far away. How many of those do we see? Not too many, which means, yeah, I don't know how. We'll see. I was thinking about using it more for lightning than actually tornadoes, because if a tornado's on the ground, I'm not going to stop, get out of the car, make sure the wind is calm enough to deploy a drone when, I could be, inside the tornado dying or something. Mama Wong in the fridge. Okay, thanks, honey. My wife just told me that the mango is ready. No, Lucas, I'm not into the 360 cameras yet. Lucas says, take a look at the 360 cameras if you have time. They're a lot cooler than the GoPros. Man, I don't like 360 footage for tornadoes, because you just go back. I mean, there's the tornado right there. Behind you, is, maybe a storm chaser. So whenever I go to 360 footage, I end up just keeping it on the one spot, and of course it's not the resolution of a 4K camera, but it might be a really good occupation tool, because that could be something you could license to video games and stuff like that. But as far as watching the footage, the tornadoes are generally right there, unless you get right. Am I wrong? I mean, is there great 360 footage where there's just stuff happening all around you, like when you go in, I don't know. That's how I feel about that. A drone sounds like a disaster, Clay says. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe some of the... Clay, there's some other days where the storm aren't as... the inflow isn't as crazy as the tornado days, and maybe it would just be kind of cool to see the lightning hitting the ground, versus, ending on the horizon. That might be neat. My wife wants to get one for vacations. We're trying to get people to watch our vacation videos so that I can bring you guys more videos throughout the year. But it's hard to spend all this money. There's so much competition with that they don't get the views, and so you don't make the revenue, and then you implode of debt. So I would prefer to see Chia Hank cuts his hair, watch it grow. Yeah, we can do that. Craig just shaved his head. We'll see. He's living. I think he's digging it. Wind, rain aren't great for drones. Might get some good sprites with them though. I don't know about that, because they can only go so high, and the drones, I don't know if it's going to make much difference with the sprites, and you're going to want to fit it with a highly sensitive sensor. So it's going to be one of the heavier cameras, so which means I'm going to get a bigger drone. I don't know about sprites. I think there are those guys that fly around in airplanes around them, but yeah, I don't know about that. Lucas says, not only for 360 footage, but if you can pinpoint things and follow other objectives without you holding the actual camera in your hand. Yeah, you're right. Well, you know what, Lucas? I've got 2 cameras that are going to be running nonstop, one in the front and one in the back, that will always be running. So we've got, a good 2 good cones that are constantly coverage. And of course, if something's happening to the left or the right, I'll shoot it. The right's kind of our weak spot right now, because we've got just so much stuff in the way. But generally, when you drive, the storms are generally on your left, so it's not too often that they're on your right, because the storms are tracking this way and they're usually on your left. But yeah, so we've got a good chunk of the area that's going to be covered. And then again, lightning with rolling shutters. The lightning is really wonky with rolling shutters. Zapper Women Aren't In. He says, hey, what about those cameras people swallow? Those would be cool to let go in a tornado. Yeah, there's a video that Reed did where I think he was calling it Zorbo, Reed Timmer, and he deployed a ball in a tornado or something like that, and or it didn't. I don't think it really got in the tornado, but it just got in the inflow and it just rolled down the dirt, and so it was just this. This is what it looked like. Ready? It looked like this. This is what it looks like inside a tornado, guys. What do you think? There, that's what it looks like inside a tornado. We want to watch that for. So it's not like the tornado's gonna stay. The camera's gonna stay steady. Okay. Will you ever, Joe says, will you ever tour out of the Houston area, say Missouri? You know, I used to, but I've just got kind of comfortable doing our little East Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana thing. Because, yeah, and basically because I've been lazy. I've been a musician for so long that I've lost the burning desire to call clubs and get rejected all day long. Booking shows is not easy, so I just wait for them to call me back. And yeah, but if somebody calls me in Missouri and says, hey, I'll put you on tour, you know, I would go there. And my strategy is right now is we're kind of reaching a lot of people online. So by building up a fan base and getting the subscribers up, maybe with that, those numbers, we can dazzle people. It'll be easier to book shows and easier to you know, go on the road. But every year I say, yeah, I'm going to tour, I'm going to tour, and I'm going to tour. You guys missed the first 20 years I was doing that. And now I'm just so in love with, you know, this tornado chasing full time. You know, before it was music first. And if I happened to have some free time, I would chase, and it would only equal about, you know, 6 or 7 storm chases a year. And it wasn't until 2013 that I said, screw music. I'm taking off 3 months to do nothing but tornadoes, and that's when everything kind of changed for me. Was when I went all into the tornado thing, and I'm loving it, guys. I'm just loving this adventure. Everything's working out. I'm selling more records. My tornadoes are selling more records than I did before 2013 when I was hitting, you know, touring to New York and LA and all that. So I kind of like what we're doing now. I'm really happy with the way things are rolling. I don't want anything to change for a while. So we're going to keep rocking this. So long story short, I don't know if I'll be playing out of Texas. Brianna says, lunch break over, so back to work. All right, Brianna, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. Zapper Woman in RN says, let's see if we can get you to play in Ohio. Yeah, I just got another college, I'll leave their name out, wanted me to come to a lecture up north. And I kind of said, yeah, and then I haven't heard back from them. So, but I might be doing a lecture up in Chicago in March. We'll see. Clay. See, Clay doesn't care if I play in Ohio because he lives in Houston. He comes to my shows here. He's a buddy of mine. Musically, if you could put together a wider tour, I think there's an audience. You're not the average vagabond, you know. Yeah, Clay, I'm just kind of waiting for them to come to me, I guess. But once I do a new record, and Splice Records, the record label we've talked about, I'm going to probably have to hit the music really hard. Yep. So Lucas, as you guys know, is from Argentina. And today we were looking at airplane tickets to Australia. I want to bring you guys storms from other parts of the world. And I'm pretty committed to going to Australia in December. But man, tickets are really expensive to go there, which is fine. It's your money. But it made me think, well, damn, maybe Argentina. Argentina's been churning out some really pretty storms, but I don't think it's going to be as easy to storm chase in Argentina. Of course, we would probably be going for kind of supercells in Argentina, but in Australia, I'll be going for lightning in the Northern Territory, so it'll be more kind of a sit and just shoot the storms kind of thing. I think, I don't know. But yeah, Lucas, I'm thinking about Argentina, but right now Australia I think is gonna be the first one we're gonna do. Appreciate it, Jungle J. Man, Jungle J, you've been turning out a lot of material lately, man. You're doing your job. Chuck H, bingo. But don't say anything to anybody because it's not confirmed. I share stuff with you guys, so keep that between us, because yeah. But I've never been to Chicago, guys. So yeah, let's do it. Yeah, Followed Truth said, too bad South Africa is dicey these days. That's what I've heard. I've heard somebody said, no, you don't want to go there. A guy who travels like this, which that sucks, man. I do want to go there, but I guess I don't know if South Africa is. I've just heard people say it's not as safe. If anybody's from South Africa, chime in. So we'll see. I've got one acquaintance there, a storm chaser from South Africa, and he shoots storms there, man. He shoots beautiful lightning. Lucas commented, sadly, it is not easy to chase in Argentina. So a lot of lightning activity. Yeah, I don't think it's easy anywhere except the United States. So we'll see. Follow Truth says he's been to the Cape in South Africa and the Great White Cage diving 5 years ago. My daughter went last year again. Wow. Well, Follow Truth is hanging out. Well, what do you think about driving up into the interior in your Jeep and chasing lightning storms? What do you think of that? What about your visit to Japan? Zapper Woman just asked. Well, I don't think I have enough footage to make a good story. So it's just sitting on my hard drive. However, my mother-in-law is turning 70 next year, or this year, and we were hoping to take her on a vacation, and she said she really wants to go to Japan. So we might go back to Japan for a few days, and I'd bring my mom to Japan. And so maybe if that even happened, then maybe there'll be enough footage to have a story or a good video out for you guys. Lucas says he got to know Mendoza the last year. I don't know if I think if you're talking about what I'm thinking. Anyway. Yeah, everywhere's cool, man. Japan is cool. South Africa's cool. The whole world's cool. I want to see it all. Michael Schneider asks, how far north of Texas would you drive for a decent March setup? I would go all the way to North Dakota if it was a decent March setup. So yeah, I've made it as far as northern Kansas, but generally it's down here. So yeah, decent for me in March means moving slow enough, to give you some chance of actually keeping up with the storm to increase your chances of seeing something. Some of these systems in March can just blast by you. They just blow by you and then they're gone. So it's hard to keep up with them. But yeah, I'm on call March if I don't have any gigs, which I think I actually have a show March 2nd right now. That's the only thing I have on the calendar, getting between us and tornadoes. Follow True says, not everywhere. I know, but Zapper Womaner says Japan has some huge gnarly hornets. Yeah, here's a story. One of the guys, a friend of mine in Thailand, his name is Ben. He's from New Zealand, now living in Thailand. Has a drone. He does this beautiful drone footage, and he and his girl are the ones that paved the way for us to go to Myanmar. And he got us, just between us, he got us a free ride. And if I do vlogs and stuff about them, which I'm going to do, I don't know if they'll like them because I'm going to be focusing on venomous snakes and spiders and stuff, but that's what I do. They've seen my channel. But anyway, he was out in Thailand with his drone, and his drone went down. And he went after the drone, like, why did it mysteriously go down? And he then got attacked by giant hornets that he said were pterodactyls that had bred with hawks. He said that was a terrible what I just said. But anyway, he got put in the hospital. He passed out, and a month later I saw him, and he still has these big whelping scars. So yeah, he could have died by those hornets. And so yeah, and I don't think they're as big as the ones in Japan, but they're still pretty damn big. When we were in Thailand, I saw these giant hornets, and I was with Ben, and I said, are those the hornets? You know, there's big suckers. He said, no, mine was way bigger than that. So no, Japan has venomous snakes, Follow Truth. It has, I'm sure it has venomous spiders. Spiders are venomous. Now there might be an island somewhere, but no, I'm pretty sure there are venomous snakes in Japan. Yeah. Garrett says, thoughts on chasing in late June, July, possibly planning a road trip this summer. June, man, that's one of my favorite times to chase. The storms slow down. The crowds aren't crazy. In May, guys, as many of you guys know, it can be stressful dealing with the crowds. There's been times where there's a tornado, you can't even get to it, anywhere near it, because there's so many chasers just, on the road. And one chaser, some guys, going really slow, and then holds the whole lot up. But in June, you tend to not see that as much. And it's really, the storms are, they slow down, they're easy to photograph. Yeah, I mean, love chasing in June. So yeah, June is an excellent time to hit the northern plains. And then of course in July, it gets really sporadic, any tornado events. You might get one or two if you're lucky, and so you might be better off committing to monsoons in Arizona, which has the beautiful lighting. I've been saying I'm going to do that. I haven't actually done that in a few years, but this year I do want to upgrade my footage with some more monsoon lightning. Yeah, Colorado in June, man. Just sit and wait for a 2% day to suddenly turn into a 5% day, and then you get a Simla tornado or a Campo tornado or a Laramie, Wyoming tornado. These are just the most gorgeous tornadoes in the world. Are these 2-5% days in the upslope that just isolated, no rain around them, freak of natures. And that's why there's anybody from Colorado, they're really in a good place to get some great tornado footage. Yeah, Zapper Man. I'm just going to call you Zapper Man. Zapper Woman. Oh, I see. Woman. That's an abbreviation for woman. Okay, Zapper Woman. Yeah. Seeing a tornado is, for the first time, is really amazing. And you're going to do what everybody does, what you hate what they do. And you're going to go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You're just going to sit there and go, oh my God. And it's going to be 4 miles away from you, hopefully, and you're still going to feel like it's too close. It's like the first time you stood at the edge of a tall building, your lizard brain informs you that this is probably not a good idea. Colorado, Wyoming magic, yep. Terry asks, what does that mean? A 2% day becomes a 5% day. So for most of you guys know, we were abbreviating the phrase. So the Storm Prediction Center will issue a 2% chance of tornadoes within a given area. Was it 25 square miles, I think? So if you live on a spot, there's a 2% chance that a tornado will happen within that spot on that day. That's what they're giving. So 2% days we don't get too excited about 2% days, but a 5% day is a storm chasing day. Most of us are out on 5% days. A lot of times things won't be clear what's going to happen, and so the Storm Prediction Center will start off kind of conservative, 2% chance of tornadoes. At 1 a.m. the day of the event. And then maybe even again at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, they'll issue another forecast and leave it at 2%. And then at the 11:30 forecast, it'll bump up to 5%. So that's what I mean. That happens a lot. It'll start off as 2, and then once things unfold, it'll up to 5%. So that's a common trend. But when you're looking at them 2 days out, if I'm in Houston, I see, it looks like it's going to be a 2% day, I don't think I want to commit to this day. And then at 11:30, it goes up to 5%, but I'm still in Houston. There's no time to get there. Yes, Zapper Woman. Garrett, did my paper for my climatology class in Eastern Colorado, and he cited me. Damn. You must have been hard up for some meteorologists then, Garrett. So. Just kidding. Lucas. Yeah, I remember, Lucas. I think was your first supercell. You were posting about it here. That was this year, right? Because you were pretty scared for that one. Lucas, sorry for those who can't read. Lucas, or read what they're saying. Lucas says he was scared SHIT enough with his first supercell. So yeah, supercells, man. When you see them, if you haven't seen one, your lizard brain, tells you, this isn't right. The clouds aren't supposed to be moving that fast, and they're not supposed to be going in circles, and it creeps you out. Follow Truth says, Hank, do you think the culture of storm chasing has changed in the past 5 years? And if so, how? Well, they're all crackheads still, so that hasn't changed. They all hate each other still, so that hasn't changed. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to be funny. Well, for one thing, it's a lot easier to get to storms nowadays with the data that we have, so that has really changed things, for good and for the better. For one thing, if a tornado even starts to poke its head out of a cloud or a funnel cloud, boom, it's on Twitter and people are getting warned. Perhaps that's one of the reasons why the tornado deaths are down. Of course, we're in a kind of an inactive period over the last, since 2011, since 2012. So the last, 6, 7, 8 years have been kind of inactive. Maybe that's why the numbers are down. But I would attribute it to all the information. People are on Facebook, people are on Instagram, people are on Twitter. They're seeing, oh, wow, that's down the street from me. I better take shelter. So that's the huge change. But just the numbers just tend to go up, keep going up and going up and going up as more and more people catch wind of how badass tornadoes are. Zapper Woman says, for the tornado forecast for beginners, what app or software would you recommend? That's a tough one. Storm Prediction Center. That's all you need to start off with, and then try to slowly start making sense of what they're saying. But they will put the the circles, the shapes of where the dangerous risk is, and they'll even quantify what they think the danger is with a number. So that's as good as it gets. And most of the other apps and other meteorologists are really just waiting for the Storm Prediction Center to give their forecast before they start flapping their gums. It's funny how that works. You know, Storm Prediction says or something, and then everybody else immediately follows. Oh, yeah. Michael Schneider says, I have reached the point where I don't mind chasing by myself and sometimes prefer it. Do you usually chase alone? I don't know if you're asking me, Michael, but or somebody else. But yes, I always chase alone just because all my friends moved away. I don't have any more friends. Craig moved to Arkansas. Johnny moved to Germany. And that's it. I've only made 2 friends in my life. But I prefer to chase alone just because I move fast. I'm efficient at it. I can, I don't mind sitting in a car for a long time, whereas everybody else, needs a candy bar every hour. They need to stop and stretch their legs, but and then of course they're working, so they can't go storm chase. But it is fun to take people every now and then and show them a glimpse of my world. But now I got you guys. I can show you guys what I'm doing. But chasing alone is the way to roll for me. Oh yeah, Zapper Woman. Follow Truth also brought up that the HRRR is a great tool, but you kind of got to. You can't open it up one time. You got to open it up, every hour and see the latest runs, and that'll give you an idea, a pretty good idea. I mean, it's funny how everybody rags on the HRR, the HRRR. It's one of those things where everybody rags on it. I don't hear anybody praise it because it's a model, and maybe because there's a couple kids that praise it too much, maybe that's why. But man, if you know how to use it correctly, which is take it with a grain of salt, it can be a tremendous tool. But if you take it literally, then yeah, it's going to lead you on a wild goose chase. But a wild goose chase in a general area, a small area. Jungle J says, I'm alone most of the time when I get out there. It's because you don't have any friends either, Jungle J. Yeah, the HRRR and the Storm Prediction Center. Start with that. Those are websites. They're free, and they are awesome. And the HRRR is kind of comes from the Storm Prediction Center, so it's on that page. So yeah. So just poke around on the Storm Prediction Center page, and I mean, man, that's what I did. I just try to understand. If there's something that you don't understand, then research that. Something else you don't understand, research that. Then 30 years later, you kind of have an idea of what's going on. Damn, it's already been an hour. Garrett says, I finally got a friend, but she's a geology major, so we like to stop and look at rocks while I'm looking at the clouds. Yeah, dude. And I know Greg Rice would agree with this too. Well, no, actually, he doesn't like to travel very much. I'm trying to change that. But when you go out there, let's say you're storm chasing, yeah, there's cool rocks, and well, not in Oklahoma, but well, that's not true in some. You got the Gloss Mountains and the Wichita Mountains, but yeah, there's all sorts of really cool geology out there. Little bluffs and things like that to look at, and then there's snakes and there's animals and there's rainbows and there's wall Martians, lots of wall Martians, all sorts of. Yeah, Greg, when are you going to start traveling? Greg Rice chimed in. He was listening. He busted us. So he did one video that I saw where he was this is the coolest thing in the world. He brought some cockroach or some domesticated roaches, feeder roaches, out into the hills of western Arkansas and was feeding them to the wild tarantulas. It was just so cool, man. And I want to do that. And I can't wait, Greg, for you to see me fishing for that blue tarantula in Thailand. It was gorgeous. Greg's going to Arizona in July. Have you ever been there, Greg? Because that is going to be a sweet video. And then Greg says, dubia roaches to feed Aphanopelma hentzi. Sweet. So, Greg, I have a confession to make. I did this funny little skit when I was in Colorado last year, where I was feeding some beetles banana, and they were just going to town on the bananas, and I was calling them dung beetles, and they're not dung beetles. And Greg pointed out that they're not dung beetles, but I'm still going to pretend like I didn't hear Greg say that, and I'm going to call them dung beetles. And the video is going to air. You'll see it soon. Oh, so you've been many times. Yeah. It's pure heaven out there. In every rock, you know, there's something. Some kind of scorpion, some kind of tarantula, some kind of bug, some kind of lizard. It's just pure heaven. And there's storms. Yeah. Darkling beetles. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the Latin name in the video at the bottom so that, you know, all the bug nerds will know that I know that they're not really dung beetles. Smet Logic is in the house. Dude, are you just getting here? And another one of my favorite channels. I think he's... The boys might be going to... Robert and Nick might be going to Vietnam this year for the first time. But they went to Mexico last year and caught some crazy animals. So Greg, if you're not familiar with Smet Logic, if you're not familiar with Greg, Jungle Jay, I know you guys know those. Yeah, you guys, Smet Logic, stop what you're doing right now and go subscribe to Greg Rice's YouTube video. It will blow your mind. Okay, Greg Rice has a new video from Arizona. Sweet. Next video as in coming up soon, or it's already out? Follow Truth wants to know if I'll videotape a flash flood coming down a stream. I've never seen it like in the movies. It just slowly rises. It's not like the here comes the, you know, the mummy, and it's, you know, it's not like that. It just water running and just slowly rises, covers the road, gets stronger, drags boulders on the road. Then you're stuck on the mound with the Native Americans for about 4 hours. You chat with them. Then a truck comes, clears the boulders off the road, and then everybody goes home. No, I if you're asking me, are you sure about that? That's just all I've seen. I'm not saying that's what happens. That's just, I've never seen the crazy flash floods like in the movies. So Smet Logic, Robert, you're going to Vietnam, and that's awesome. I can't wait to see what you're gonna literally go crazy if you go. You're gonna yeah. Okay, I'm gonna share a story with you guys. I was in Thailand, and I'm like you guys. You guys are obsessed with weather, like we are all. We're crazy about weather, right? So somebody would say, "Wow, you really like weather." You know, somebody says that to Greg, they probably say, "Wow, you really like spiders." And so in Thailand, a guy said to me, "Wow, you really like snakes. You know, like you're obsessive." And I thought, okay, I blew him off, and then a week later, somebody completely different said, "Wow, you really like snakes." I got kind of offended, like, well, I mean, I appreciate all animals. It's not just snakes. I love all animals. I'm not obsessed with anything. And about a week later, I realized I'm obsessed with snakes. And this is how I realized it. We were eating dinner. I was eating with the family. And I looked up, and there was a snake shed in the gazebo above. And so I kept going back to the gazebo to find that snake, which I found eventually. But so for every hour I would go by. But there was one time when we were eating dinner at a different gazebo, and I got hit with, I need to use the restroom now. I got to go now. And I left the dinner table, and I took the long way to the restroom to check the gazebo to see if that snake was there. I think I'm obsessed. Lucas said, I wanted to ask something, Hank, but it's totally unrelated to the channel. How was the food there in Thailand? Yeah, I'm obsessed. The food in Thailand is free. And it's the most delicious food in the world, and they just give it to you. It's free. Doesn't even cost anything. Everywhere you go, you give them baht, which is the currency there, but it's like play money. It's, 35 baht. It's about $1. And with that, you just get the most delicious meal you've ever had. If it's in the street, like the street food. And when my wife first took me there, she said, oh, we're eating that. And I said, nah, that looks kind of shady, because they pull up with their little carts. And so I've been going to Thailand for 4 years now, and I eat everything now. I scrape it off the bottom of their cart. I don't care. Never gotten sick. It's crazy delicious. I don't know why their recipes really haven't caught on around the world. I don't know why the whole world doesn't eat like them, because everything is so delicious. And so, of course, we come to the spot where there's a bunch of bugs. And I'm thinking, okay, everything is so delicious, I'm going to try the bugs. And we eat the bugs, and even the bugs are good. However, if you go to Thailand, learn the words plara. Learn that, because you do not want plara. There they have acquired a taste for fermented fish, just basically rotten fish. In Norway, we have a fish that we do that too, where you bury it, it becomes rotten, and then you eat it. What is it called? Luke fish? I forget what it's called, but it smells terrible. However, in Norway, some people have acquired a taste for it. Well, all the Thai have acquired a taste for plara, and it's basically rotten fish smell on your food. And yeah, I'm not there yet. You can eat it. It's kind of like the cheese in Europe, the butt cheese. It doesn't smell good, but you can eat it. So if you don't inhale through your nose, then you can swallow the food okay. Oh, Smetlogic, you are in for a treat when you go to Greg Rice's videos, man. I'm gonna have to call you. And so Rob's a friend of mine, lives in Colorado, and he's got a great Smetlogic, I should say, has a great snake channel, herping channel, and adventure channel. So everybody, I'll put everybody's links in the description if you're watching this later of who you need to check out. Yeah, right. Rotten fish, yum. But loot fish. Thank you, Clay. So yeah, loot fish, not Luke. Loot fish. So plara is a flavor in Thailand that's similar to our loot fish. Right, Lucas, I hear you. Before and Stink Flipper in the Alaskans. For real? Stink Flipper, is that something, or are we just throwing out crazy jokes now? Yeah. Stink Flipper. Okay. It's probably close to loot fish. Yeah. But yeah, you acquire taste for strange things. Yeah. What else, guys? Is that it? So if you're watching this video later, which I doubt you are, a lot of you guys, I catch Jay stuff all the time. Smetlogic, thanks. A lot of you guys have different hours. You're in different parts of the world, and so I'm going to try to swap these talks. and I'm going to try to do more than I promised you guys. Just one, it's fun, and I can watch these videos back, and I can realize what not to do. Yes, king cobras are impossible to find, Lucas. They don't exist. I've been there 4 years ago, and I still haven't found any king cobras. I found one dead monocled cobra, and that's it. Smet Logic, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh, with. Hank, you catch Jay's vid with snake coming on screen? I hope I don't understand that right. Yeah, so what are you going to do, Robert, when you come across a spitting cobra exactly? Are you going to wear your goggles the whole time? Because I brought my goggles, and I ended up always leaving them at home, like, because when you go, you know, yeah, I don't want to bring the goggles. And yeah, what are you going to do if you're, okay, guys, imagine you're a tornado fan. Imagine you love tornadoes and you've never seen a tornado. And there's a type of tornado called a spitting tornado. And if you look at it, it spits in your eyes. You've never seen a tornado and you want to see a tornado. And 1 out of every 2 tornadoes is a spitting tornado. What do you do when somebody says there's a spitting tornado? Do you turn and look at it? So, yeah, glasses, glasses, glasses. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do if I come across a spitting cobra and I don't have glasses. I don't know if I'm going to have the, I don't know if I'm going to have the discipline to just let it crawl away. Hopefully I will. I used to have a classic Mustang, Follow Truth. I used to have a 68. I think you know that. And every time it broke down, which was a lot, you could just kind of crawl around on the side of the road and find some wire and fix it. It was awesome. Yeah, dude, I hope you find a king, man. And you know what, Robert? I bet you would find a king because usually you have connections and you know where to look, whereas I just kind of go out there blindly and find out for my own the hard way. But wait till you see what I caught, dude. Caught a lot of colubrids that I didn't post on Instagram just because I didn't, you know. It's funny, guys, on my Instagram page, you can see that my followers aren't as into snakes as they are tornadoes. Greg Rice says, here's a good comment. The severe weather activity seems to be shifting east. Thoughts? It could be a phase. It could be an oscillation. These are my thoughts, guys. I haven't thought about it a lot. So, one, the population is increasing out there more than it is here. So, which is going to equal more reports, right? And then, of course, you know, you have these weather is fickle. You know, it bounces around. Even 10 years of weather really doesn't qualify as climate, perhaps. So you really need to look at, you know, maybe 30 years. Maybe, I don't know what the duration is, and average them in to really see if it is shifting east. But there has been talk that a warming climate might, you know, we all say, hey, that could mean more bigger storms. Well, definitely bigger tropical storms. But on the tornado level scale, I should say, it could bump the shear somewhere else. So we need shear for tornadoes. So perhaps a warmer climate means bigger cape, less shear, which would probably be less tornadoes, maybe. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't know. Yeah, basically I should have just not answered that question because I threw a bunch of undecipherable jargon at you. No, it is not good. The east is not good for chasing. And I love to put that word out there because that way when I'm out there, there's not as many storm chasers. It's great for chasing. because one, it's not as bad. Mississippi is actually, yeah, you can get tornadoes there. The road network's still pretty good, and there's no chasers out there. Which is really really cool. It shouldn't matter that there's a lot of chasers, but if you've ever been on a trip with somewhere and you see something beautiful, and when there's just 100 people taking a picture of the same thing, it has a way of kind of taking out the specialness of the moment. Shouldn't, but it does. Yeah, so it's terrible. The trees are terrible. Oh, Zapper Woman, you don't know what you're missing. You're hanging out. Zapper Woman just said, "I'm not a snake fan, but you make it hilarious." Well, if you keep hanging out with us, you'll be surprised. If we have ways. When I say we, I'm talking about me, Smet Logic, Greg Rice, all of the guys here that love the creepy animals. We have ways of converting you to. Pretty soon you'll see a snake as no different than a puppy dog. They're precious, precious, precious little animals. Michael Snyder asks, is that Dodge City behind you? Yep, that's the 3 tornadoes on the ground at the same time. And that's I'm going to go ahead and say it's my favorite tornado picture that I've ever taken. And what a day that was. And that's what I tell myself if I miss any other future big photogenic outbreaks. I say, well, I got to see that, so I'm good to go. Follow Truth says the worst is the white school bus vans full of gawking tourists. Yeah, but the guys that are the tour bus drivers are all cool. Like Brandon Ivy and Blake Brown and Roger. What's the guy with the guy that's I'm drawing blanks, but those guys are really cool, and they're amazing in that they know how to whip that crowd into shape. I always stop on the side of the road and like to talk to Blake Brown when I see him with Extreme Tornado Tours. He's one of my favorite dudes out there, and man, I don't know how they do it, but they whip those tourists into shape, man. They bark and those tourists listen. So I don't know what. I'd love to peek in on a sit down. What do you say to somebody, before maybe they're just smart enough to know if we don't listen to the tour guide, we die. Garrett says, I think the report thing is huge. At least out west, there's a misconception that there are more. But in reality, almost every little EF0 spin up gets breaking news coverage. Right. I agree. Yes, they're like puppy dogs. Wait till you see me snuggling with the big python in the next video. They're so adorable. See, Smet Logic, snake equal puppy. Greg Rice just said, snakes are just cute faces with tails. Oh. The Zapper Woman, we understand. We understand why you think that, and we sympathize with your concerns. But once you see the light, that's what my wife tells me about that Plough Raw thing. Once I acquire a taste for that rotten stuff they put on the food, yeah, I'll stop there. All right, man, are we done here, guys? If you guys keep flapping your gums, I'm gonna keep talking. There's a thing that we say in the entertainment business, less is more, right? Or should I just bore you to death until you're all gone? Whittle that 18 down to 0. What kind of king snake? You probably caught the Florida king snake. Obviously, you're in Florida, right? Or did you get a scarlet king, Jungle Jay? Talking to you. Uh-oh. Zapper woman, we will kick you out of here. I don't care how much money you're giving me. I'll delete your account. Don't kill snakes. That's not cool. Oh, wow, Jungle Jay, you got a scarlet king snake. No kidding. Man, that's a gem. Probably little bitty, right? I'm going to guess it was about that long. Hank, have you ever been to the rattlesnake roundup in Sweetwater as a protester? I'm not much of a protester. I just punch people. So when I was a kid, and I'm sure a lot of people on this channel can have similar stories. But yeah, if you hurt animals around me, I had the bloodlust thing happened. Yeah, so there was no protest. There's just fists started flying. I usually end up losing because I was really small as a kid. No, I try to tell myself the Sweetwater Roundup does not exist. Yeah, it doesn't exist. It doesn't really happen. I need to tell myself that. Sweet. Zapper Woman says, honestly, I couldn't hurt any living animal. That's because you're a compassionate person. So, but if you're eating meat, then you can't have the other guy do the dirty work. I think it's important for us to kill our own animals if we're going to eat them. I'm becoming so soft too, man. When I was a kid, I used to eat everything I caught. Gar, Gasper Goo, the crawfish from the front yard ditch. Hey, Jungle Jay, you ever eaten a Gasper Goo? It's like a carp. I ate everything. Follow Truth says, where did you get the name Pecos? Was it from the river? So there's a guy named Pecos Bill, and he grabbed a rattlesnake and he lassoed a tornado and he rode it off to heaven in some of the stories. And one of my friends, girlfriends of mine, cut off my head and pasted it on Pecos Bill's head. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And then also the Pecos River Valley in Val Verde County is one of my favorite places in the world. The gray-banded king snake brought me and SmetLogic out there many years ago, and we know every dirt road and every flat piece of limestone out there. So yeah, I felt like Pecos Hank is a better brand than Hank Shima, and it is. It turned out it worked pretty good. All right, dudes, let's close it on that. Guys and gals, thank you so much for hanging out. I really enjoyed doing this. I hope to have this new video up by Thursday evening. And man, it's going to be pretty good. And I can't wait for you to see the footage that I licensed with your money to make sure that we have another great year wrap-up video. And man, it's here. It's upon us. 2019, what's going to happen? What are we going to see? Imagine 6 months from now. What videos are we going to upload? What sites are we going to be staring at? Are we going to even be alive? Wow. What's going to happen? You don't know. You never know. You never know. Yeah. Clay, so good seeing you guys. Terry, Zapper Woman, it's good to see you around. And everybody else, thank you so much. Michael, Greg Rice, and yeah, I'm gonna go check out Greg Rice's videos and Jungle Jay's videos. And you guys, please check out Greg Rice, Jungle Jay, and SmetLogic's videos on YouTube. They have a mission. They're all on the same mission. They all have the same message. Steve Irwin handed us his baton, and we're running with it. So check out those guys and see what they got. You guys be safe, and thank you so much again for hanging out. We should do this more often. If you guys keep showing up, I'm going to keep doing it too.